Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Calling All Platforms Tech Podcast. I am Caleb. I'm your host today, and it's been about a month and a half since my last cold during the podcast, so it was about time for another one. Yay!
Hooray!
I was really happy to make it through the entire month of May, so I guess I was asking for it. Anyways, I am here tonight with Landon.
Hello.
And Wes.
Hey!
And we are going to catch you up on all of the news that has happened in the tech world over the past week, especially gaming. There's quite a lot of news that has happened in gaming just in the past couple of days. So, let's get started with some Google news.
Because that's so much gaming.
Gaming!
Start us off with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Biggest thing is Android O Developer Preview 3 is now available as of last week. I have not put it on my phone.
What special features come with?
Not a lot. Biggest thing is now the APK is available for developers.
Oh, good.
So they can start, updating their apps to work with it or tweaking them for when it's the final release. So that's going to be better. So hopefully certain apps will stop crashing as much,
Oh.
Well,
that
that'll be
sounds
nice.
useful.
Yeah, weird, right? And the other big thing with that is it is now confirmed to be 8.0. So under, if you go to your settings and check at the software updates and stuff, it'll say what version. Before it just said Android O, now it says 8.0.
Right.
There's still no name.
Yeah,
Everyone's assuming Oreo
that would be obvious.
because
What other treats start with O? Like
Orange.
candies. That's
someone
not a
actually thought that.
candy.
It's not candy, but it is kind of a sweet treat, which is,
kind of.
yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping for Oreo. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I honestly can't think of anything else that's like even remotely dessert related that starts with an O, so
Yeah, there's not a lot.
that would kind of have to be it.
Yeah, and I'm hoping if they do name it Oreo, they go back to the statues that they do it on Google Campus to be an Oreo Android, not just an Android, but like the bug droid holding an Oreo, like the more recent ones have been.
Yeah.
Because the best one by far, in my opinion, was I actually like the ice cream sandwich one the best. And it was just an ice cream sandwich
Yes.
with a head on it
Yep.
and arms sticking out.
Yep.
And it was great.
That
And
is
then the
awesome.
Kit Kat one was
The Kit
basically the
Kat,
same thing,
yeah,
and
it
that
was
was
the
pretty
same thing.
awesome.
Yeah.
And Jelly Bean
yum.
was like a jar of jelly beans
Yep.
with a head. But then ever since Lollipop, they had the bug droid holding a lollipop, which kind of made the
Makes
most sense.
Like, how do you turn
Yeah.
that into an Android? That doesn't work.
But then Marshmallow was just,
Yeah, it would've
which
been
is
perfect.
the perfect one.
Yeah.
It's the bug droid is the shape of a
Yes.
marshmallow.
Yep.
But no,
They did not
he's
take advantage
standing
of that.
next to a marshmallow, a giant marshmallow.
Yeah.
Lame. And then Nougat is the bug droid sitting on some nougat bars, which actually makes it look more like it should be Neapolitan ice cream
Ah.
because
Sounds
it's
delicious.
the colors of nougat are
Right.
the.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was lame. So I'm hoping with Oreo they go back to the ways that they were
Yeah.
before. So much better.
Google, get your statues right.
Yeah. Everyone's complaining about it. Literally, there's
that's
so
the
many
way of the
Android
world.
sites that are complaining about it. They really should, but I doubt they will.
That's the way of the world today anymore, right? It's like,
Yeah.
hey, if you don't like it, just complain.
I mean, to be
Pretty
fair,
much.
where the little Android statue is concerned, the only people they have to really appeal to are the folks that walk past them every day at the office. And and if those people are okay with it, then most of the Android install base doesn't actually even know they exist.
Yeah.
And
It's just
So-
the big tech fans like us
Yes,
that actually
yep.
know about them.
so in case you're an Android user and you weren't aware of what we're talking about, every release of Android is accompanied by a statue that Google puts out in front of their campus of the little Android robot featuring the candy after which that version of Android is named. So
I
now
knew
you know.
this is something new to me. Actually, I knew that they were called Nougat and they had all this, and you were expecting Oreo, but I had no idea that people were complaining about the image.
Yeah.
So that's definitely new to me.
Now the first ones, like the cupcake and the donut, were just a statue of a cupcake and a donut. They didn't really have anything to do with Android themselves. But then, like going on, they started incorporating the bug droid icon, and then now it's just lame.
It's just lame. Okay.
Anyways, moving on. As of today, a new rumor has come out, and this is coming from Android police. They were the first ones to talk about this. The rumored phone that's codenamed Muskie, which was supposed to be the replacement or like the follow-up device for the Pixel XL, has been canceled apparently.
Oh.
But it's being replaced with a larger phone. And a few months ago, we heard rumors of 3 different code names.
Was this one named Husky?
No, they're all fish
'Cause
related.
it's bigger.
They're all fish related.
I know, you said Muskie, and then you said this one's a fatter phone. Husky.
No.
See where I was going with that?
The
Landon?
biggest phone that they released, the Nexus 6, was codenamed Shamu, if that makes you feel any better.
There you go.
Which
No,
made a
it
lot of
doesn't.
sense because that was a giant phone.
That-
Shamu, is a whale.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I was going a different direction, though.
I know. I'm trying to take you back and
I noticed.
fix your wrong ways.
Very wrong ways. But
Anyways,
there's more than time in a podcast to fix my wrong ways. I guess.
we don't have
Yeah, we
anywhere
don't.
near enough time.
We don't.
No. Nope. Anyways, so, it was rumored there was going to be 3 phones, but now they're just still going to only release 2 and just have the larger, probably like a 5.7 or somewhere around there, phone. And from what we've heard, it's probably going to be similar to like the G6 or the S8 in they're taller with the weird aspect ratio screen, but, bigger screen and a slightly smaller, not smaller, but different form factor, I guess. Fits better in the hand. I'm okay with it. There's also, that's the rumor for the iPhone 8 or iPhone X or iPhone, whatever the heck it's going to be called.
You want to talk about a weird aspect ratio? There have been parts leaks. We'll get to that. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw those.
Funny pictures.
Yeah. But that's the latest rumor, and Android Police is giving it an 8 out of 10 on their rumor scale. So they're pretty sure about this. They've gotten 3 separate sources from Google saying it. So who knows? We'll find out later this year when they actually release the phones.
Cool.
And then off the Google side and just onto Android, OnePlus has conveniently leaked their own pictures, as they usually do.
Conveniently.
Well, there was a leak last week, and then they put out actual kind of pictures of the phone, just the top back of the phone, and it looks extremely similar to an iPhone 7 Plus, in my opinion. It's got the antenna lines, which I have to say are not an iPhone original. That's
No.
HTC.
Yep. Still HTC. That's...
Nobody really knows that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that Apple did it, because I think it looks good.
It does.
But everyone always thinks, oh, it's an iPhone thing. No. It's that started with
Apple,
HTC.
Apple is still paying royalty checks to HTC for every phone that they sell. They're the reason that HTC is still afloat, probably.
Them and Google with the
Yeah.
Pixel
Yep.
manufacturing.
Yep. Anybody who's got those antenna bands on an aluminum phone is licensed to that technology from HTC.
Yes,
So,
they have.
Wow.
Interesting little factoid there.
Yeah.
But anyways, OnePlus has... You can go to their Twitter account, and their banner is this picture. And
does it really count as a leak if it comes directly from them?
they call it that.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I accidentally
it's
pushed the
OnePlus.
upload button, guys.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. I mean, this is literally just standard OnePlus marketing.
I can't
what
tear
they
it
do.
down from our own website. It's just out there now. Darn
Yeah.
it.
Pretty much.
What a shame.
Anyways,
Sorry.
the phone is rumored to cost around $500, which is high considering it's OnePlus,
Yeah.
where most of their phones have been in the $300 to $400 range. But it's supposed to be a lot better, which makes sense. And it's I mean, their phones have always been really good. They've always had high-end flagship specs for the most part,
Yeah.
minus 1 or 2 things like not having NFC on one phone. That was stupid. But, little things like that. But still, for what you pay, it's a dang good phone. And the build quality's always been really good. And this looks like it's going to be even better with an all-aluminum body, similar to the iPhone or the Pixel. And they've also announced that it's going to be unveiled on June 20th at noon Eastern Time. And they're going to live stream that on YouTube and who knows where else. So if you want to watch that, if you're interested in getting one of these phones, then just be aware, June 20th, you can probably pre-order it that day.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. I've always liked OnePlus phones. I played with the OnePlus One. I actually purchased the OnePlus X for my job. I was reimbursed, but it was a fun phone. Played with it for a couple of days. A lot of fun. Really cool phones. And now on to some not Google or Android related, but somewhat gaming related.
I'm excited for this.
And it's not mobile gaming.
And it's not mobile.
Or Nintendo.
And that's as far as we knew before the podcast,
Yes.
everybody. Like, he's kept this a secret. So
Yes.
we're actually stoked.
Yes.
This better be good.
You probably have both potentially seen this. I'm sure Caleb has. You maybe have. I don't know.
We'll see.
Anyways, Samsung has come out with a new curved 49-inch monitor.
I have heard of this.
And it looks amazing.
It does.
And I want one so bad. I say this is kind of gaming related because it's made to be a gaming monitor.
Right.
But if you haven't seen this already, you really need to go look it up. It's the CHG90 is the name for it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it is beautiful.
I did catch a glimpse. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Out of my price range.
Yeah, it costs $1,500
Yes.
For just a monitor,
for
folks.
just the monitor.
I've
but
always
yeah.
wanted to have that money so I could just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just spoof.
Yeah. Maybe
Some-
someday.
Yeah. Some of the specs on this thing is it's got a 178-degree viewing angle. It's got a refresh rate of 144 hertz, so ridiculous. It's got AMD's new FreeSync 2 technology, which makes the monitor and your graphics card and your PC communicate a little better to help that refresh rate work
Nice.
for you.
So it's not all choppy and
Mm-hmm.
Yep, basically.
Prevents tearing
that's it.
is
Yep.
the technical term for
Yeah.
that when your refresh rate on your computer and your monitor are out of sync.
Yeah.
Crap happens.
I've
Yep.
seen that really bad.
Yeah, like I've seen it, and it's like if you're serious about gaming, it's a big deal.
Yes.
Like it can cause some serious problems. If you're not, like if you're just a casual PC gamer, then you don't care. But yeah, if you're serious about gaming at all, then yeah, it can cause problems.
More so for the fast shooter games is
Yes,
mainly
especially.
where you see
Yep.
it. But if you're like
Yep.
playing SimCity, you probably ain't gonna see
Yes.
What? My
Nope.
Sim
My
can run really
building-
fast.
Tor, I don't like this. I need a new monitor. 15 Gs or 15,000. Not whatever.
1,500.
100. I know math
1,500.
here, guys. Thank you.
Oh man. Anyways, some more specs. It is a full HD monitor, and it's basically two HD monitors in one without the gap in between. It's got a 32:9 aspect ratio, which is times 2. Normally it's 16:9, and it's 3840 by 1080. So
Yep.
again, times 2.
Yep.
So it's really cool. Like I was looking at some of the stuff that it can do. It's got its own built-in software because neither Mac OS or Windows really take advantage of this wide of a monitor.
Right.
Well,
Mac OS does, but only for the 5K iMac. It refuses to do anything for external monitors.
yeah. But the software that it has in it makes it so it can scale whatever to show extra real estate
Yeah.
on the screen. But you can also configure it in all sorts of different layouts. Like there was one, it was a 4-screen layout that was like, it goes from one corner to the center of the screen. I don't know, it was like weird triangle type weirdness going on. Or you can do like 2 separate monitors or 3 or 2 small ones on one side and one big one on the other. Just all sorts of weird configurations.
Yeah.
It was really cool looking all the cool crap it can do.
And if you do like gaming, like these widescreen monitors are so cool. I've seen it. I've got a friend of mine. He plays like say Diablo with these widescreen, and it actually will scale. So basically, you see more
Yeah.
of the game. It doesn't just like it doesn't take the where
It doesn't stretch it
yeah,
out.
stretch it. That's the word. I can't say words today for some reason. Stretches it out. Or it doesn't stretch it out. It actually gives you more of the game to play. And for the longest time, Blizzard was thinking of taking that away because they felt like it was unfair to the people that don't have monitors like that. But they still haven't. They've mentioned
Yeah.
it. But But I have seen first person shooters on stuff like this, and I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of visual information.
Yeah.
And there's some types of games it works really well with, others it doesn't. Like driving games it's perfect.
Just beautiful.
Because you can like basically see out the side windows of the car without having to like do any weird stuff. Like you just see a large portion of the track in front of you all at once, and can be really helpful that way.
And if you play like an RPG, like
Yes.
over the shoulder, it's like
Yep.
a lot of people play World of Warcraft. I've seen that on those monitors. Wow.
Yep. Just it just really helps to see what's coming from further away. And like real-time strategy games too, because the more of the map you can see at once, the more efficient you can be without having to move your view around and swap
Exactly.
stuff. So it can be really cool, and if you're serious into gaming, then it's definitely the kind of thing that you should be looking at.
Yes.
But
Serious, competitive, whatever you want to call
it's
it.
expensive is the problem, obviously.
Very.
Yes.
They do show pictures comparing this monitor to other of the ultra wide monitors, and this one, I mean, it's like way bigger than most, but again, it just shows a whole lot more game,
Yep.
and it's really cool.
They are cool. They are very cool, and I'm assuming. Did they give a type of requirement, or not requirement, but recommendation of a graphics card series for it?
I didn't see
No.
one.
Okay. I bet to do something like that, you probably need higher end, because obviously that's more game, that's more it's pushing and working.
Well, I mean,
there,
it's so it's dual HD basically. If you have a graphics card that's capable of powering 2 HD monitors in game at the same time, then it will handle this monitor. That'll be fine. But I mean, that is a little bit higher end stuff. That's not like for the Radeon series, your RX 460 probably wouldn't be able to handle that. The GTX 1050 and 1050 Ti probably wouldn't be able to handle that. The 1060 might. 1070 definitely would.
Yes.
The RX 470 might be able to. The RX 480 definitely would. And by 4, I mean 5, because they updated those to the 5 series just recently. Anyways.
Yeah.
the concept applies. It's they're consumer level gaming cards. Those ones are the RX series and the 1060 and 1070. So those, so the upper end consumer gaming cards would handle this, I expect. The lower end ones might not be able to. But then, if you're looking at buying one of those, then you probably shouldn't consider yourself a serious gamer. Just saying.
Well, I was
If you're going
saying
for
that,
those graphics cards in this monitor,
Right. You've got your
Yeah.
priorities backwards. You should
Yeah.
be getting
Yes.
one of the nicer graphics cards and a less good monitor, please.
Yes. That's why I brought that up. I was kind of like, just in case you're like, oh, if I just buy this $1,500 monitor, maybe it'll make my gaming better. Well,
No.
definitely won't make you better as a gamer.
Spend $1,500 on your PC first, and then see if you still need the monitor after that, because I suspect you probably don't.
Yeah.
Going down a little tangent with this, I do remember I was playing World of Warcraft one time. We were doing like this big boss. It was huge. Had like 25, I think it was 25 people in there, and I remember just everything was going on. I had a PC that it was right before the dual core came out, and so I still had a single core, but it was like maxed out, like 4.0 gigahertz processor and everything. And I remember I was at 1 frames per second.
Whoa.
I was on my Rogue, and somehow I was doing the maximum amount of damage than anybody. But I literally was looking at a picture slideshow.
Wow.
It's like, and this is you hitting with a sword,
Yeah.
and this is everyone else shooting this. And it was just a slideshow. And I'd yell at my brother because I was playing with him. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" Because I have no idea.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. That's.
So
that
you
can
need
happen.
your hardware,
Yes.
definitely. So
Yes, that is always first. Monitor is definitely secondary. Like, I have a PC that will drive a 4K monitor that will drive a VR headset, and I'm playing the thing on a 1600 by 900 like $50 monitor that I picked up secondhand somewhere. Like,
bet it looks beautiful.
yeah, no, I mean it looks okay. It's certainly not the worst thing that it could possibly be, but I'll upgrade my monitor at some point. But first, I had to get hardware that could actually drive the games.
Yep.
Like, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
I really wish I could afford this monitor. Not because I'm a gamer, obviously I'm not, but I just want the
What?
giant monitor.
It looks
It's amazing.
cool.
It's true.
The first thing I saw a picture of someone put an Excel spreadsheet on this,
Oh, jeez.
and it was ginormous.
An Excel spreadsheet.
It was huge. And the thing I thought of when I saw that was like, if this was on Mac, just imagine how many things you could put in your dock.
Oh my gosh.
You could have like 50 apps in your dock.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be able to run them all at the same time, like not by any stretch of the imagination.
And then if you scale it down even more, you could put 100 apps in your dock.
Oh yeah, you make it the smallest, you could put every
Okay,
Wow.
I gotta ask something. The dock, is that the thing at the bottom?
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the
Sorry,
yeah.
I do not use Macs, so okay.
Yeah.
I got it. I knew.
Man,
Yeah, I thought about that. I was like, oh my gosh.
that would be intense.
And so is camping. Sorry.
Yes.
Tangent. All right, tangent over.
Why do we invite him?
On that pun.
Browsers.
Anyways, I'm done. That was
Okay.
my last bit of news. And I'll probably be quiet most of the rest of this podcast.
I'll
Well,
throw you a bone.
Hang on, we've got some Apple stuff
That's
to talk
true.
about.
I can talk about
you might
Apple
have
stuff.
some things to weigh in on here.
Yeah, I can't.
Okay, so we're gonna go into the Apple news. First off, out of WWDC last week, we got some press coverage, first impressions basically of the HomePod, which isn't coming out till December. So it's really just kind of like this is a prototype unit that they were messing around with. So they didn't get to test out stuff like the Siri integration and how well the mics worked and that kind of thing. Mostly they were just listening to music on it. But everything that I read, everyone pretty much agrees that this is by far the best sounding home speaker, like intelligent home speaker that you can buy. And it's, it walks away from like the Google Home and the Echo, like it just leaves them in the dust and sounds really, really good. There were a few things that were just like, obviously some software post-processing is being done on the music. Software probably isn't finalized, and so they didn't want to pass judgment on some weirdness that they noticed, but just the hardware itself, it just sounds really good. And that's kind of par for the course. That's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But
It's funny, though, because I hate that people are comparing it with the Echo and Google Home. And I get why they are, because that's kind of the same market, but it's not. Because
it's true.
even Apple, they only in passing mentioned Siri is on it. They
Right.
really talked
Yeah.
up the speaker aspect
Yes.
of it rather than anything else, because that's what they're marketing it for. They're marketing it towards those that are already wanting to buy a high-end speaker.
Yeah.
And it's just convenient that it will also do control your smart home stuff.
Yeah, it's basically like it's better than the Echo's sound, obviously, because that's not the Echo's main selling point. It's smart like the Echo is, and it sounds really good like a dedicated Sonos system does.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the whole thing. It's all like, look, it's both of these, the best part of both of them combined, and how amazing is that? But they also had Sonos speakers on hand for folks to compare it to, and they said that it sounded really good in comparison to those as well. So pretty
I would
exciting.
hope so for $350.
$350, it definitely feels like a premium wireless speaker experience. So better sound pretty dang good. A couple of other things that came out of WWDC after the keynote. iOS 11, once the developer beta hit and everyone started playing with that, we discovered that is 64-bit only.
Yep.
Like 32-bit apps will not be supported by iOS 11.
This was a rumor that had come out a while ago, too.
Yeah, it has been around, and they've been warning you, like every time you open up a 32-bit app, ever since I think iOS 9, it's been like, hey, this app is old, and you should ask the developer to update it, and stuff. But now they're just going to be like, nope, sorry, can't open it, and that's the end.
Now, how is this going to affect iPhones that are not 64-bit?
So I imagine that they will be taking all of the 32-bit apps out of the App Store, but any phone that has a previous version of iOS on it and still has those apps on it, those apps aren't going to stop working.
Okay.
So as long as you have the apps on your phone, then you should be fine. So if you do have an iPhone that is not going to be updating to iOS 11, you want to keep your 32-bit apps, I would recommend backing it up to a computer just to be on the safe side, so that if you ever do like have to restore the thing, you don't have to do a fresh restore, because you won't be able to download those 32-bit apps going forward. So if you can do a restore from a backup on your computer via iTunes, then you'll be able to get all those apps back. So that's probably just a good thing to know going into iOS 11. 32-bit apps will not be on the App Store anymore, I suspect. There is actually a chance that if you go into your purchased apps history and scroll down, you might be able to find them and download them from there. Apple has done that, like on the Mac App Store. You can go back and download previous versions of Mac OS, like all the way back to Lion, I want to say. And even though they're not like the current version and Apple doesn't really support them anymore, you had them, and so they're there. You can download them. So maybe that will happen. I don't know. We're going to have to see how that shakes out, but I suspect that once iOS 11 is released, you probably won't be able to download these things from the App Store anymore.
You know, I was talking today with my wife. I'm really excited about iOS 11, mostly for the iPad. And I told her, I was like, the next quote-unquote laptop you get is an iPad Pro. Because for what she uses a laptop for, and with iOS 11, the iPad Pro is a legitimate laptop replacement, now.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, Apple's been pushing that for a while, but up until iOS 11, I don't feel it has really been.
With every release of iOS, they have made it so that more people could actually call the iPad a computer replacement. I just think that iOS 11 is going to take a much bigger chunk out of PC users than any previous version has. And it's gonna make a big difference. And actually, I went home and talked to my wife about all of the fantastic computers from WWDC that I wanted to buy. Yeah. We talked for about an hour, came out of it, we're probably going to buy an iPad Pro.
Yeah. Now, for me personally, I still need a laptop. Like, I need a desktop OS. I need either Windows 10 or Mac OS because of the things that I do, like audio editing and Photoshop and things like that. I need the more power and just the desktop OS.
Yes.
So, like, for me, I would still be looking at, like, a Windows PC or a MacBook Pro or an iMac, or, you know, something like that, not a tablet.
Yeah.
Which I still kind of want one, but not for my computer.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, my wife could use it as her legitimate computer.
And that's kind of the same place, because I need a desktop computer for a lot of different reasons, or something with a full desktop experience. My MacBook Pro is still going strong, and it's going to be getting High Sierra, and it's probably going to run it just fine with 8 gigs of RAM and the SSD that's in there. So, excuse me. So I'm not really too concerned about that kind of thing. I didn't need a new computer. One of the main reasons I wanted to get a new computer was because, hey, shiny. And also the fact that my wife's computer, my wife's computer is a dog. Like, it is really slow. It's getting old, definitely showing its age. And I could give her my laptop if I got a new computer.
You want to make her feel better? Take my laptop home.
She knows what old Macs are like. I have a room full of them. But I talked to her, and she was all like, well, if you really want to improve my computing experience, if that's one of the main things here, I can do everything that I need to do on an iPad, like with iOS 11, because the few things that she was still using her computer for, document manipulation and stuff like that, once you have like features like good multitasking and drag and drop,
the file
that kind
system,
of thing, the file system on an iPad, she's done. That's it. That's her computer. That's all she needs.
That was the exact same. That was like exactly what I said to my wife. I was like, it's got this new file system. You can drag and drop, and you have multi-window. She's like, oh,
yeah,
okay. And then she was like, can I run like Office apps on there? I was like,
Yep.
Yes.
Because she has a Office 365 subscription. She still prefers that, which makes sense. It's still by far the most capable.
Yeah, definitely
Office
the most popular
suite.
and compatible for sure.
So, like, as long as she can run that and do most things she needs to, it's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
And I told her, I was like, Windows apps on Android and iOS are really good.
They are really good.
Yes.
Yep. So
almost better than Windows.
It was a nice conversation.
Yeah.
And we came out of the whole conversation with me thinking to myself, okay, so we spend a lot less money. She gets a replacement for her computer. I get something that with the download of like a $20 or $30 app can function as a Wacom Cintiq with my laptop. And I was like, okay, I am sold. So
There you go.
we're going to be buying one of those probably within the next month.
Now, are you going to be getting the 10.5 or the 12.7 or whatever it is?
We're going to go into the local Apple reseller. We are going to look at both of them and decide whether or not the extra $150 feels justified for the 12-inch. Right now, I kind of don't think it is.
Yeah.
And I think that we're probably going to get the 10.5-inch.
That's what I'm looking at,
that
too.
just seems...
Especially
most
because
reasonable.
it's the same form factor as the 9-inch iPad. It's like, why not, you know?
Yeah, it's the same weight.
That's the biggest thing that pushed me towards that. I was like, ooh, bigger screen, same size body.
Yep, and they can fit the full-size keyboard on it, and it'll support a full-size external keyboard. So,
Which we already have a Bluetooth keyboard that'll work with anything. So it's like, I don't have to spend the extra money to get the smart keyboard that they have.
Yeah. Well,
all I need is the pen.
My wife's
Pencil.
She has
Sorry.
done
Get it right.
Pen is a different brand.
Yeah, that won't work with this. Sorry.
My wife has done the whole like iPad as her main computing device. She did that through her final year of college. She had an iPad mini and a Bluetooth keyboard for it, and she used it to take notes and do stuff in class and that kind of thing, and then she'd do most of her like serious homework on her desktop at home. And that worked pretty well for her, but she hated the fact that Bluetooth, like when you turn the keyboard on, it sometimes takes a second to connect, sometimes it drops out, you have to keep it charged and stuff like that. She hated that. And so when I told her, I was all like, we'd get an iPad Pro with a keyboard case, and she's all like, no, I'm not doing that again. And I was like, no. It's got a smart connector on it, so we can get a smart keyboard for it that doesn't require power, instantaneously connects. As soon as you dock it, it's connected, it's going. And she's like, oh. Okay.
Now, are there third-party smart keyboards?
For the 10.5-inch, I think the only one right now is the Logitech.
Well,
Because
yeah,
Logitech
but I mean,
has a popular series
right?
of...
But there are some like for the bigger one.
Yes.
So there
there
will
should
be some for the 10.5-inch.
Yeah, I suspect.
And probably guaranteed in China. If you want to order something like Caleb
Yeah,
Maybe.
but
does. That will be running Windows on it as well.
it'll work with your Surface and iPad Pro.
Okay. Anyways, back to the 64-bit only apps. So the rumor actually is now that the 32-bit Mac apps are kind of on the chopping block as well.
That would make sense.
That we're going to be within the next, maybe not this, I mean, obviously not with High Sierra, and maybe not the version after that, but possibly the version that we'll be getting in 2019 might cut support for 32-bit apps. And I'm sitting over here trying to think of any 32-bit apps that I'm still using on my Mac, and they're kind of few and far between. Mac OS has been 64-bit only, or not only, but 64-bit main since, I want to say Snow Leopard.
So a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Maybe Lion. I can't remember, but it's been a while. So that's, just, it's coming. It's 64-bit is the thing. So I don't know at what point we start getting 128-bit processors, if that's ever going to happen, but we'll see. Okay, so a couple of more things that have been revealed about iOS since the beta became available that I thought were interesting, because they never cover all of the features that are available in these kinds of updates in the keynote. So Siri, you're going to now be able to do text entry like with a keyboard and not have her read stuff back to you. So that'll be nice. The control center, they talked about how they'd redesigned it to be a single page. Turns out it is also customizable, and you can change what functions are shown there and what, remove and add them as you wish. Actually looks pretty cool. They've introduced a password autofill API for third-party apps, so they're going to be able to use some of the the system-stored passwords and stuff in your keychain to autofill passwords inside of apps, which is awesome. They've also introduced a screen recording feature. Yay! Okay, I just had to get that out of my system. This is something I have been wanting for a really long time. You can do it right now. If you have a Mac, you plug your iOS device into it, and then you can record your screen via QuickTime. And it works pretty good. That's fine. Sometimes I don't want to have to plug the thing into my Mac in order to do that. So that will be built into iOS going forward. Okay. So the next piece of Apple news, and this also related to WWDC. So the 4K iMac was updated at the keynote. iFixit did a teardown of the thing the next day because iFixit has connections. I just don't even know how they get their hands on these things so fast. So just as some lead up, the previous generation of 4K iMac was the first one. It did away with replaceable RAM in the 21.5-inch iMacs, and that was kind of a huge bummer to everyone. Used to be that there was a little door on the back you could open up and replace the RAM. They got rid of that. It's still on the 27-inch iMacs, but not the smaller ones. So they got rid of that. The RAM was soldered onto the motherboard. The CPU was soldered onto the motherboard, and they were using a proprietary thing for the hard drive connector. So iFixit did a teardown of this thing. It's got standard RAM in a standard DIMM slot on the motherboard. It's got a standard 2.5-inch SATA connected drive that you can use with any hard drive. It's got a socketed CPU that's just in a standard LGA 1150 socket from Intel that you could totally swap out for another processor, though admittedly, in order to get to the thing, you have to pull or punch through some stickers that will void your warranty.
And pull the screen off.
Yes, all of this you have to pull the screen off.
That's the catch. They made it
yes.
slightly more modular, but not really.
Yep. I mean, as far as iFixit is concerned, it went from a 1 repairability score out of 10 to a 3 out of 10. Yeah. So improvement. But it was really interesting to me because I was looking at it and I was thinking I could get this thing with the standard 1 terabyte non SSD, just the regular spinning disk hard drive, and I could open the thing up right when I got it and replace it with the SSD that I've got, which cost less than updating to the 1 terabyte Fusion drive just for their build configuration. And then if 8 gigabytes of RAM isn't cutting it a couple of years down the road, I could cut the screen off again and then just drop in 16 gigs of RAM. And then if after 5 years or something like that, because the warranty on these things only lasts for 1 year, so after a year, it doesn't really matter if you replace the processor and void the warranty. I could pull the thing off and replace the processor, upgrade it to whatever the last processor that Intel was using with the LGA 1150 socket. That's just mind-blowing to me. Like, you haven't been able to do that with anything outside of Pro Max for a while. And
yeah,
it's really cool.
Yes.
It's not as cool for anyone else, but hey, removing the monitor on those things is not as difficult as everyone wants it to be. So
true.
You go to iFixit, you pay for $15 worth of plastic tools, and you can do it yourself in your house. So yeah,
and they make it
cool.
They have really, really good tutorials on how to do all this
they
stuff.
They do.
With pretty much any device.
Yep. iFixit's really good for that kind of thing. Okay, so moving on to the iMac Pro, we talked a little bit about how they're going to be selling the thing starting at $5,000 and how they said that if you were to spec one out comparably without paying for this awesome monitor, then you would be spending $7,000. And I was all like, that sounds like a load of bull. So
especially considering it's Apple.
Right.
Yes.
So I was all like, of course, this is going to cost a lot more than any similarly spec'd computer. So went on a PC part picker, started speccing the thing out. Actually took some doing because they didn't tell us exactly which Xeon processors they were going to be using, and the graphics for this thing don't exist yet. Kind of difficult. But I got something that, based on the specs they gave us, should perform similarly in a pro workstation environment, and the thing actually only costs like a couple $100 less than the iMac Pro. Depending on what kind of monitor you were buying with the thing, actually would have cost more. So, not $2,000 more. Maybe if you were speccing it out from HP or something like that, maybe it would cost $2,000 more. And if you were to like pay somebody to just build this PC for you, like a local computer shop or something like that, their fees tacked on top of it, that's like another extra $200, $300 or something like that. So right now, this thing, actually getting it from Apple is the cheapest as far as bang for your buck is concerned.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive.
Well,
actually.
now you gotta say that. I mean, it is obviously a good deal and kind of surprising, but it's definitely not what they were saying.
Right. No, they were definitely blowing those numbers away.
Because they were saying without the monitor, it cost $2,000 more.
Yeah.
But with the monitor, it probably would.
And like I said, I've kind of expected that if I were to go to HP's website, because I was not doing that, I was on PC Part Picker building this thing myself. If I were to go to HP's website and spec up a workstation that had similar specs to what they were saying the iMac Pro had, without adding a monitor onto it, it might cost similarly to what theirs is going to be, around $5,000. And then adding a monitor that is as nice as the one they have on top of it can easily be $2,000. Yeah. So it's possible that that's what they meant and they just said it wrong. Like that if you were to go to HP or Dell or somebody, spec out a similar workstation, and then buy a really nice 5K monitor or 4K monitor on top of that, then it would cost $7,000. Because I can see that.
Yeah.
That's possible. But I don't know. It's it's still a little bit of a dubious claim. However,
it's not entirely false.
Right. It's a lot less less expensive than... Or it's a lot less more expensive, I guess. Anyways, point is, not nearly as expensive as I thought it was, and I was kind of surprised by that. And just in case anyone thinks I'm crazy, my personal pricing estimate was actually within, like, I don't know, like $50 or $60 of a test that was done by PCGamer.com. They did the exact same thing, trying to put together a gaming PC that would wipe the floor with the iMac Pro, and they put together one that was very similar with a very similar monitor and everything, and theirs was about $300 less than the iMac Pro itself. So right in the same ballpark. So this is not just me. Okay. Last piece of Apple news, we today just had some supposed first part leaks for the iPhone 8/X/edition/ whatever. There are two pieces of glass that claim to be the front and back, so iPhone 4 style, which, you know, we're pretty much sure that's going to be the case at this point. There were no fingerprint cutouts on the back, and the screen was almost completely bezel-less. Like, even more so than the G6 and more so than the S8. Meaning that around the sides and the bottom and most of, or part of the top at least, the bezel that was shown there on this piece of glass was like less than 1/8 of an inch. It was tiny, would not really show up while you were using the phone. And then they had this kind of little swoopy thing in the top for like speaker cutouts and cameras and stuff like that. Looks kind of weird. So
Similar
that's why
to
I
like
said
the Essential phone.
Yeah. And that's what I said, like, speaking of weird aspect ratios on a phone, because yes, it's a taller aspect ratio similar to the S8 and the G6 and has a cutout in it. So build your full screen apps around that, developers.
Have fun.
I don't know how they're going to handle that. If that turns out to be the case, this is kind of a sketchy rumor and we don't have any way to verify it right now. So grain of salt, but that is kind of where the rumors have been pointing. So this thing does line up with the current state of the rumors. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not that turns out to be legit. And that is all the Apple news. So, E3.
Let's do some E3.
This is where I sit back and relax.
Yes, Landon's going to take a nap. Wes.
Actually, I think your
Get
input
us
would be
started.
good as someone that's not big into gaming, but give kind of a perspective. I think it'd be good. So don't just relax too much.
Now, when it comes to games, I'm not going to say much, just because I shouldn't, because it's me. But when it comes to like the technology, like the hardware, I might have some
You
input.
might like it.
Just because I like hardware.
Yes. Hardware is awesome. Well, let's get into it. I guess let's just start with the Microsoft, the Xbox event. We'll I guess the big news, obviously, is the Project Scorpio is now known as the Xbox One X.
I just want to say on this that for many, many years in the macOS ecosystem, X has meant 10. So I'm totally going to say that Xbox 10, I called it when done.
You know what? You know what's funny?
I'm out.
I didn't catch that. As soon as you said that and you said X and then 10, I was like, oh my gosh. You win, sir. You win.
I'm taking it.
That's awesome. Wow. Because here I was thinking something like they got to do something better than Pro, like Elite or something, you know. And so as soon as it was Xbox One X, I was like, it took them a little bit to sink in, but I was like, okay, I like it. It flows with what they've got. They got Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X.
My only problem is that saying Xbox One S really fast and Xbox One X really fast, they kind of blend
Basically the
together.
same
Yeah, they do.
thing, Yeah.
They do. They might as well just say Xbox 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep
We
calling it that just
we
for
should
fun.
do it. Just start the trend. Just Xbox 10.
This is the Xbox more powerful.
Xbox more powerful 10. No, we can call it Xbox
we could call it
Black.
the Xbox 110.
One t-
which is kind of a downgrade of the Xbox 360.
This is just making
And
me
then
think,
next year they can release the Xbox 2.
This is just making me think of the Big Bang Theory episode where Sheldon's complaining about the Xbox numbering system.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's awesome.
See,
You
with
posted
PlayStation,
that.
you got the
PlayStation
PlayStation, and you got the PS2, and the 3, and the 4. The Xbox, you got the Xbox, then the Xbox 360, and then the Xbox One.
Yeah. Now one S and one X.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems. I guess to me, it sounds more premium.
Yeah, and like I said, it's, we've been calling Mac OS, well, okay, not anymore, we're not, but we were calling Mac OS X. That's how it was branded for years, and so obviously, I'm not opposed to things being named X. My only problem is it does kind of sound similar to S, and since it's not like it's replacing the S, they're still going to live at the same time as each other, and so that might be confusing for some grandparents who are all like, what do you want for Christmas? And the kid's like, oh, I want the Xbox One X. And they're all like, oh, Xbox One S. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the poor kid gets the non-4K version. And the grandparents are all like, wow, this is only $200. What a savings.
Compared to this other one that's $500.
I'm
Speaking
really
of which,
glad he asked for the cheap one.
Speaking of which, the X is priced at $499.
Yes, which I was actually kind of surprised by. I mean, I understand that consoles are typically quite a lot cheaper than PCs, and, that cheapness usually comes with some sacrifices in
Yes.
functionality because, they're easier to use and that kind of thing. So whatever, there's a trade-off there. But this thing at $599 is actually
$4.99?
or $4.99, sorry.
Yeah.
This thing at $4.99 is actually kind of a steal as far as price is concerned.
Especially when
I
you
feel the
consider what
same.
it can do, because it's comparable to a PC that you need that can do VR stuff. Which
A higher end.
if you buy a PC that with the low end specs for VR, easily costs $700-800 or more dollars.
So this is another thing that I did on PC Part Picker while I was spending some quality time on PC Part Picker this weekend.
You priced out the One X.
I priced
Did
out
you
the
really?
One X.
Oh,
so
that's exciting.
basically just it's kind of similar. Yeah, go for whatever the lowest system requirements are for VR, and based on the specs that they gave us for the One S, because obviously, or the One X. Geez, see, I'm already having that
You
problem.
can still say Scorpio if you need.
Scorpio, yes, the 10.
I still think that's a much better name.
So yeah, but given the specs that they gave us some numbers. They didn't really give us this is a based on the AMD Radeon whatever architecture and stuff like that, because that's not gonna really speak to most people. But they did give us some numbers. So based on the graphics numbers they gave us and the RAM specs that they gave us and that kind of thing, I priced out a PC that I'm pretty sure would be able to beat the Xbox One X in pretty much every regard, as far as it's got to match up to the 4K, full 4K resolution, full 4K textures, and 60 frames per second consistently. As long as it hits those numbers, that's kind of the benchmark. And specifically, they did tell us 6 teraflops of graphics compute capability. So I was pricing out a graphics card for that specifically. You could get a PC that will beat the Xbox One X as far as just sheer hardware is concerned for about $750.
Yep.
You can get it down to about $500, the same price as the One X, if you start cutting some corners, like cutting out the Blu-ray reader. Because I put one in there because I was like, well, this thing comes with a Blu-ray
4K
player.
Blu-ray
4K
reader.
Blu-ray player. So this thing obviously, you got to put it in there. So if you cut out the Blu-ray drive, and that may have actually been the only thing I cut out because those are kind of pricey.
Yeah, those are.
But that gets it down to about $500. But then you've got to keep in mind that on top of that, the hardware specs that I put for the thing will probably run 4K resolutions with 4K textures at 60 frames per second, but it's a PC. Even with Windows 10's game mode turned on, these games don't run nearly as close to the actual hardware as they do on a console.
Right.
So,
And you also consider what you're going to be putting these parts into compared to the One X.
exactly.
The
It's
console
a big old
itself
frickin' case.
is not that big.
No,
it's actually
it's
smaller than
small.
the S.
Smaller than the S. And then if you're building a PC, it's going in a good-sized tower.
Yeah.
If you want a good,
That doesn't look nearly as
if you
good.
want a good, there's a picture going around that shows a controller, an Xbox One controller on top of it.
Yeah.
And it's not much bigger.
No.
No, it's quite
So-
small. So yeah, it's a really actually it's a good piece of hardware for sure.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really good price. Now, this is the thing that is kind of, I mean, obviously with consoles, you pay more for the games usually, and then you usually have to pay for some kind of online multiplayer component versus you have to do on PC. And that's because Microsoft is selling the hardware for this thing at a loss. Like, they absolutely are. Or if they are making margins on it, their margins are minuscule in comparison to what most computer manufacturers get.
It's like you said, they'll be making stuff up on, obviously, the games, the software.
Yes.
But also Xbox Live
Yes.
and all the other things that Xbox Live or Xbox Oriented will offer you. It'll be paid through all the other services.
Yes, like they're going to be selling you services and games, and
that's not a bad thing. That's just business.
Right. Exactly.
Like anybody would do that.
Now, all that said, though, as I believe you mentioned before the podcast, most of the games that go with the Xbox One X are Play Anywhere. So I mean, they're going to be making their money off those games, but they'll work on the One X. They'll work on your PC.
Correct.
They'll work,
Yep.
And that's fantastic too.
It is, and that's one thing. Like for the while, I've been waiting for the Scorpio to come out. Well, X, well, let's say 10, when our Xbox 10 coming out, just so I could see if I'm actually going to upgrade my PC. Right now, I've got a pretty average PC that does everything I need, a desktop, if you will. But for the gaming and everything, I've really enjoyed the ecosystem on the Xbox really well for my gaming and everything. So what's really nice that I'm really liking, like I said, I was such a supportive of the Play Anywhere initiative, and now that they're doing, let's see, they're releasing console, they released 42 games, I believe it was, and half of those are exclusive to the Windows, to the Xbox One / the Windows 10, the Play Anywhere thing. And so that's just, that to me, I'm like, sweet!
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
That was a ton.
Because that just opens up, PC players, that opens up console players. Now, I think the downside, it's not really a downside, but obviously this has got to be building. The downside is I don't see a lot of people doing third-party games as much through the Play Anywhere if you're a PC owner, because Steam. Because obviously, if you're already a PC owner, you've got lots of Steam on those Steam sales, and it's just, that would be a hard library to just say I'm not going to use anymore.
Yeah.
Does that mean, it's not that you wouldn't use it, but it's like, you don't want to buy the game again.
Yeah.
Unless they can come up with a way like, hey, we saw that you have this through Steam.
Here's a discounted version.
Here's either discounted, or since it's a Microsoft Studios and you bought it, here you go, like Halo Wars. Like, you already bought it on Steam.
Yes.
Here, just you can play it through that. Like, I could see that, and that would be wonderful. But I think the uphill battle they have is Steam and already established gaming on PC.
Yep. That being said, GOG has actually been making pretty good headway against Steam in that space. So it's not impossible. It definitely can be done. GOG managed to do that because they were focusing on old games and really good sales on older games, and the fact that they were DRM free. So that's, they've got some good arguments in favor of their ecosystem there. So, Microsoft has got some, like the fact that it's crossplay, that you can play anywhere, and that for some of these games you can play with people on Xboxes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Those are good selling points. I don't know if it's enough, because as a PC gamer, I don't have an Xbox. And so, like, the fact that I can play it on an Xbox and on my PC, I'm kind of like, okay, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
The fact that I can play with Xbox players is a little bit more important, but I don't know. It's maybe not enough yet. We'll have to see.
Like I said, that's that uphill battle that they're facing. But I think they're starting to get the backing. I think they're doing really well with it. It's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm in the Xbox, the Windows ecosystem, but I still have Steam games. Obviously, I've got the entire Valve collection. I've got Left 4 Dead, Valve, and Portal, and that's where you get it from. I'm just saying.
Yep.
But
it's the only way.
But there are games that, and it's the older games that I like Heroes of Might and Magic 3. They redid that one. The old Age of Empires.
Yep.
They HD'd them, did all. So I'm like, okay, yeah, take my money.
Yep.
I'll play that.
Yep.
So obviously I still have some games over there, but it would be hard for me, for example, to be like, oh, it's really cool, say like what Sony's doing. I'm just going to stop everything that I've done and all my accomplishments and just jump ship to there.
Yes. Yeah, that's like nigh unto impossible.
Yeah.
So
it'd be hard, but overall, I think it's really good.
Now, this is kind of somewhat off topic. It's still with gaming and stuff, but I got thinking while you were talking about all this, different gaming stuff, but with what Microsoft is doing with this Play Anywhere thing, I'm wondering. Now, obviously, there's nothing saying they're doing this or thinking about it, but I want to get your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that with this Play Anywhere initiative and stuff like that they will ever make it? I mean, obviously, Play Anywhere makes it so it takes more advantage of certain aspects of your PC hardware for gaming and stuff like that. Do you think they'll ever make an actual Xbox mode built into Windows 10 for the PC? So it's kind of still like playing on an Xbox. It's not like almost changing the layout to what an Xbox is and changing the way your hardware works.
But your UI?
Yeah, kind of. But you're still on your PC and you still can use a keyboard and mouse like you normally would on a PC gaming, but it's Xbox. You know what I mean?
Kind of like Xbox OS for the PC.
Yeah, and built into Windows 10.
I see where you're going with that.
Because, I kind of see what they're doing with it, and it makes sense, over time that they try to do this, because then you literally buy a game once, and it will work however it's developed. It doesn't have to be tweaked to be, work on PC or Xbox. It'll just work wherever you have a Windows setup.
The question you have is,
do you think they'll eventually get to that point?
I think they're pushing to that point, but I think it's more they're trying to make it Windows 10 more Windows.
Yeah, that's kind of what everything. I mean.
But I see what you're saying. You basically just want to be like, oh, I'm just going to hit the Xbox button on my PC, and then it'll just bring up like you were running an Xbox.
Kinda.
Well, I mean, so what it would need to do is it would kind of have to boot out of Windows and boot into Xbox.
Yeah.
Because the Xbox uses different software, like acceleration and that kind of thing, as far as their game performance is concerned. And if they just kind of ran that inside of Windows, it would just be a UI. It wouldn't actually gain the benefits of the fact that the software on the Xbox runs so much closer to the actual hardware without nearly as much overhead as, what's going on with Windows 10 on a PC. And so, I think that one of the biggest issues as far as this kind of thing is concerned that would maybe prevent Microsoft from wanting to go in that direction is how scary it would be to try and support the hardware combinations possible with PCs. One of the things that consoles have to be in order to be successful is really easy to use. You've got this one, here's your basic software, and it works, and, you just drop the games in, and they work every time. The developers always know exactly what kind of hardware this thing is going to be running on. It's really easy to make a console experience stable, because there's only the one piece of hardware.
Right.
You know?
Now, could you do it to where there's a minimum requirement, so it only works on PCs at this level, or or maybe you buy a different version of Windows that has it built in? If you are banking a gaming PC, you want this feature, you pay $50 more and get this version of Windows rather than the standard Windows 10.
Yeah, I think that still the biggest problem, because we talk about a certain level of performance in a PC, but even still, I could get a GTX 1070, and that's a really good gaming card. For consumers, that's a great gaming card. Plays all the current AAA titles, great, whatever. It is technically equivalent to the 980, the GTX 980, and actually the GTX 790 Ti, Black Edition or whatever it was, the very highest end of the 7 series cards from NVIDIA were the same. And so that's those cards and anything above them, which there were cards above the 980, and then there's the fact that there's their more professional workstation cards that are not geared toward gaming but still have the graphical oomph to play most games. There's a bunch of those that are at that same level and above, and so they'd have to provide support on the software side, and then the game manufacturers would have to deal with it as well for all of those cards, to say nothing of the fact that now you're looking at those cards in combination with this piece, this CPU, and this CPU, and this CPU. And then as far as like getting the network stuff, the online multiplayer stuff to work, okay, are they using this internet card? Are they using this network interface? Are they on Wi-Fi? Are they, which Wi-Fi controller are they using? Are they using Ethernet? Which Ethernet controller are they using? Do they actually only have an Ethernet port that runs at 100 megabits per second because they're using a really old motherboard? There's so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that Windows as an operating system is so much less stable than Mac OS, is because Microsoft has to try and support
everything.
Literally millions, like tens of millions of different possible combinations of hardware. And when you say, okay, this is a gaming PC, then you're kind of setting a benchmark for this is like at least the performance that you get.
Mm-hmm.
But even
Right.
above that line, there's still hundreds of thousands of possible combinations of hardware, and as opposed to two. Right now with the One S and the One X, that's basically two. And I guess the original one, but really the only difference between the original one and the One S was just a few little, there's some hardware tweaks, but they're pretty darn close to each other as far as the actual hardware is concerned. So, I see what you're saying. It would be really awesome to be able to benefit from the way that the Xbox's software operates so close to the hardware and allows you to get a lot more performance out of lesser hardware than if you're running a full installation of Windows. It makes it a lot easier if you drop this thing underneath your TV in your living room to just get some Xbox controllers that can connect to it via Bluetooth, and voila, you've got there, you're set.
Yeah.
And you get the same UI and everything like that. And from a living room PC builder perspective, I would love that. Steam gives you big picture mode, which is pretty similar to that. It works really well, but occasionally it just crashes out because it's just an application running in Windows.
Yep.
If that was the whole operating system, that wouldn't be nearly as problematic, which is what Steam OS is supposed to be. And so, I totally get that appeal, but I don't see Microsoft ever really trying to push for it because of how difficult it would be to try and maintain that, in addition to trying to maintain Windows. That's something that Microsoft is geared up to handle for Windows, but their Xbox division really isn't. And I don't see them trying to do that. So maybe they would do it. I guess I shouldn't say I don't think it would.
I'm not thinking this is going to be anytime soon. I'm saying maybe 5-10 years out.
I think with what you're asking, I think through Windows 10, it is a big possibility. Not in reverse of Xbox to Windows 10, since now Xbox, the operating system, is now kind of more of an appendage of 10 now. They've made it to where it's very just
right.
It's 10 with a different UI on it. I think that working it that way, I think it is, because I think they're starting to bring a lot of stuff. The creators update, you got Beam streaming, you got game mode, you got all these things that have helped push the Xbox One. I think they're talking back and forth. So I would imagine that they may do that. Just if people are, I haven't seen it, but if people are talking about it, they're like, hey, what if you just put the UI on? If I just click on something like you said with Steam, how they're like Steam OS, I love that. Why not? They may have a lot of people. They're one of the more companies that actually listen to people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that as a mean thing, but with the community, Xbox community, Microsoft community, a lot of people say it, and they're like, okay, let's do it. So I could see that they could do it easier than, say, like Steam could, because it's just embedded, and they could embed it just like they have with the game mode, with all this stuff. They could just embed it, be like, here you go, here's your Xbox experience if you want.
See, the reason I think they might do it, and again, this is all just speculation. There's no rumors saying they're thinking about it. It's just this is just thoughts in my head, But I look at with Seashell, the new shell of Windows that they're working on, that's supposed to work on everything and just tweak its UI basically. Right. And I see that, and I think, obviously there is going to be the hardware limitations, and that's going to be a pain in the butt to figure out. It's the same thing with Android. It's not easy for Google to make something that's going to work on everything. But Microsoft could tweak, in a sense, the Windows and Xbox portion, what they can do to make it work best, so developers don't have to do quite as much to make it work on all these things. And they've already done that with Play Anywhere. That's it's built in there. But I hope that they do this. Again, this isn't going to affect me in any way because I don't game that much, whatever. But just to make it better for Caleb, who isn't going to necessarily buy a console because all of his games are on his PC, right? And it'd make it easier for people like you guys to play together where you're mostly on console and you're mostly on PC. It's just
Actually, there's one thing that Microsoft could do that would make my personal living room video game experience a whole lot better, and it would be pretty low-hanging fruit. If they could automatically make it so that any application that is started up from the Xbox app on Windows 10, if that automatically started with game mode instead of me having to manually enable it every time, or for each game, that would be awesome. If they could make it, because they currently have it so that you can import an executable into the Xbox app so that you can just start the whatever application it was from. It's basically just a shortcut inside of the Xbox app's UI. If they could make it so that I could batch import a whole bunch of executables from a directory into the Xbox app, that would be awesome, because then I could just, entire Steam library right there.
That would
be nice. And then if they were to make it so that the Xbox app had some version of the Steam Big Picture mode that was more easily navigable with a controller, and make it so that I could set that as my startup, so that when my computer turns on, it starts up the Xbox app and then defaults into that controller-based UI. If I could do those things with the Xbox app in Windows 10, that would be amazing. Holy crap.
Yeah.
See, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I mean,
right.
Even then, even with an Xbox app, that could be the add-on that you do to make this work.
Yeah.
Instead of it's kind of like buying a different version of Windows, because you go to the Windows Store, you download Xbox app, pay whatever.
Yep.
If you want the additional features like this, you pay 10, 15, whatever, however much money to get it. Because obviously, if you're going to use it for gaming, you're planning on spending money.
Right.
So why not pay a little more to get better features?
Yeah, and if you don't, you wouldn't be getting the benefit that the Xbox definitely has as far as their software integration is concerned.
Yeah.
But it would just improve the user experience a lot to be able to do that kind of thing. Because I have, most of my games are in Steam, but I also have games that are from, Blizzard. I have games that are from GOG. I have games that are from CDs, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I still have those.
StarCraft.
That one you can get digitally now, which is amazing.
That's
Anyways,
true. I still have the disc, though.
I don't. Casey. Anyways, so if if I could just make it so that I could go okay, all of those in one place, which is what Steam doesn't give me. And then Steam also doesn't give me the whole I have to have a keyboard sitting next to it so that when my computer restarts to install updates or something like that, I can re-enter big picture mode on Steam. It's kind of a pain. And if I could just get rid of that little keyboard, because every time the computer turns on, it starts up the Xbox app and then goes into this controller mode, that would be perfect. It would feel like a game console.
Other thing sorry.
Go ahead.
The other thing I would hope this could potentially do is make it, if you did buy a console, you could easily use a keyboard and mouse instead of a controller. Can you now? Is that a thing?
There's limitations to it, but you can as
but
of right now.
If they were to do this, that would make it more of a viable option for PC gamers to actually consider buying.
Yes.
If they could switch over just like that, with a keyboard and mouse to their console rather than trying to find a game that will work on their PC.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have to have the learning curve of trying to figure out what the heck this controller is.
Exactly.
Be awesome.
It'd make it a lot more tempting for someone like Caleb to buy a 1X.
It's true.
That makes sense.
If you can use a mouse and keyboard rather than a controller,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or vice versa. Use the controller on your PC.
It's really interesting. As you guys have been talking about this, I've been thinking, and I'm like, the Xbox app actually does a lot of that. So, that I was thinking. So, you're saying it imports games. Well, I actually can see people playing games in the Xbox app on their PC that's not an Xbox game.
Mm-hmm.
So, on my friends list, it's you got this person, they're playing World of Warcraft, and they can port in stuff to the Xbox, screenshots and videos and things into that ecosystem.
Once you get that integration done, once you do that little game import thing, which is pretty easy to do, then you get the benefits of the multiplayer, the social platforms, and all that stuff that's already there. I just wish that I could batch import all of the games on my PC at once instead of having to do it one at a time, because I have a lot of games on my PC.
No, I don't. I've got a lot in the library, but I think I've only got 2 of my Steam games installed, but the rest are Blizzard. But they all just show up on there, and so it's kind of interesting. I haven't had to import or anything on the app, and it just tells me, oh, this person's playing Diablo 3,
right?
And then, or this person's playing, what is it on Steam's? I got all my brothers. They play all sorts of different things. One will be playing Diablo 3 on PC, and it'll actually say PC, Diablo 3.
Yep.
One will say World of Warcraft. Obviously, it just needs to say World of Warcraft because you can't do it on the console. And then, and it's a bunch of stuff. It'll actually say what they're doing on there, and so it's pretty cool. So and as you guys are talking, I'm like, I wonder if they may be working on something like this because a lot of these features.
See, that's what I see too. I mean, I see all these tweaks that they're doing with Windows 10 and with Xbox and what both sections of the company are working together to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I could see eventually something like this happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good thing because it just makes it easier for people on either side of the fence to, work together and play.
Cool with that is he was talking about the game mode thing. If you just have everything in the Xbox app, you should say everything that's in my app that I say go from the app, game mode it on.
Yes.
So
that would be awesome.
That would be.
Yep.
Wow.
It really is. It's as far as just the UI is concerned, they are a hop, skip, and a jump away from just hitting that console living room PC experience about perfectly. Which, I mean, obviously is not going to work for most people because obviously you still have the instability associated with playing games on Windows. And there's definitely some instability there. So people would still be buying consoles. I don't think they would be losing console sales by doing this. But they would be making people like me a whole heck of a lot happier.
Well, see, and that's the thing. They're just getting to where people that are on PC are still buying a console. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's...
Another thing I just thought of, and this was something that Microsoft, I think, was pushing a lot more when they initially announced the Xbox One and have kind of gone away from. But I remember when they first announced it, they were kind of pushing your entertainment hub.
Yes.
Is the one. And now they've focused more on gaming, obviously, because everyone was like, that's stupid. And the gamers are like, why do we don't want that. We want a gamer, we want a console. But
they've been slowly doing it.
Doing it anyways. But I see this and you could, if they do make it so it's kind of interchangeable, you could legitimately make a PC as your entertainment hub.
Yes.
Rather than the console. Or go either way, depending on how you're, gaming or what you do focuses on, but you could legitimately hook your PC, home-built PC, or even, an HP or a Dell PC to your TV or to your entertainment system, and it just will run everything well.
Yeah.
Because that's obviously what they wanted to do with the Xbox One initially, and they're just behind the scenes making it do more things like that.
That's true, and there's a lot of people. I mean, they're integrating all sorts of apps too that they were talking about. Okay, so iTunes, a lot of people have stuff on iTunes that do have Xboxes that they want to play their iTunes list on the background for their Xbox.
Dude, if you could have iTunes on the Xbox,
well, you can do the background not only with Groove. You got Pandora, you got all these other radios and all these other things, and I think Spotify. So and everything's being integrated, the store and on everything. So I'm like, they're just doing that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's what they're pushing for, and I think this is awesome. And I'm not saying that they're trying to win a war between Sony, because it's not a war. It's just people want one, and so that's why a lot of people say it. But it's like, this is just a smart way to just integrate everything and be like, this is what we're doing with Xbox. Well, why don't we just just put everything all together and just give it everything we got? And so it's exciting. So.
Anyways, off that tangent. That was a long tangent.
It was a good tangent, though. I mean, it makes sense.
It's just my thoughts on.
And I'm glad you brought it up because, I mean, a couple points that I didn't even think of, and I'm like, that's amazing. So that would be cool.
Now, I want to reiterate: this is all speculation.
Yes,
this is just
this is us.
This is just kind of us going off on what we kind of want and hope that Microsoft does.
But if it turns out to be true in the future, just remember that we're prescient and can see the future. So there you go.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Dang it.
Back to E3.
Okay, back to that. Back to was going to say Scorpio, but to the 110, the 1X. So they said that it will be released in November.
The 7th, right?
The 7th. And I believe I mentioned it before, but it is going to be $499. I mean, but if you're still not sold on the I was going to say Scorpio. Anyway, you know what it is. On this new console, you could still go ahead and get like the S, which actually is now going to be half the price, which will be $250.
Which is amazing.
Great
It
deal.
is.
Great
now,
deal.
I'm looking, now they say you could buy the 1S for $250. Now, I don't know if that is the 500 gig, because normally sometimes you can get a 500 gig for $250, but if you get a terabyte, that's kind of the standard now that everyone's wanting.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's the terabyte.
I haven't actually checked, but I had a look.
I looked. They've said the 1S. They haven't actually
Yeah.
said the 1 terabyte,
Yeah.
and obviously with the different storage, it
Yeah.
changes the price.
And
but
I think the important thing to mention here too is that the 1X, the 110, and the PS4 Pro, these are not actually 9th generation consoles. I mean, they feel like kind of a big step forward as far as the consoles are concerned, but the PS4 Pro can play all of the PlayStation 4 titles, and the Xbox One X can play all of the Xbox One S and One titles. The best part about that is it goes the other direction as well. They showcased a whole bunch of titles, what was like 45?
42
42 titles during their event that were going to be optimized for the One X, that were going to be playable in full 4K resolutions at 60 frames per second, like just awesome, beautiful games. Every single one of them will be playable on the One S at 1080p.
Even the one, the original,
and the original one
the original.
at 1080p. Like it's basically like it's like, you know, buying a PC. If you'd have the lesser hardware PC, you can still play these games. You'll just be playing at a lower resolution.
Oh yeah,
And that's exactly what this is. So
This is like compare like an iPhone 7 to a 7 Plus.
yeah, that's exactly
Slightly different hardware,
Yeah.
but they're the same
Right.
generation
Yep.
device.
it's the same family, and all of the games are going to run on both of them.
Yep.
And so for $250, that makes the One S look like kind of a steal. And actually, go grab yourself a used one, like
yeah, you could
No
launch
kidding.
day Xbox One, and that'll run all these games too.
yeah, and you could probably get that cheap. I have
yeah.
not looked, but I mean,
I bet you
bet.
could find one easily for $150.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
or
Yep.
cheaper,
Or
Yep.
cheaper.
like because a lot of now
Might
one
even
thing
come with a couple of games, too.
with the original. Just on there, one thing: if you do get an original controller, it does not have Bluetooth.
That's true.
That it just it has to be S or more. So usually you want to double check the black controllers if you're buying them, just to make sure that it has the Bluetooth capability.
Yep.
Because those are nice.
That would be good to know.
So just so you know. But that came with a lot of the original, was the original black one. So if you're looking to do the Bluetooth connectivity, you might want to try and buy a different controller. If not, then I mean the controller will work. It'll work fine.
Yeah, it'll work with the console, but that's it. Or you can buy a dongle and it'll work with your PC
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
So you have that option.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're wanting to jump in on this, have at it. If not, and you're a PC player, you got 42 games coming.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot that will be on the console first, and then they'll come to the PC later. But
There were a few
Yeah.
that said they were just Xbox
exclusive, yeah.
but there were it's like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Most of them were either available on all consoles,
Yep.
like everything, all platforms. Some of them were just Windows 10 and Xbox One.
Yep.
But there's so many
Yeah.
games.
Total, yeah. There's just a lot coming, and obviously, I mean, they brought everything. They
Yeah.
dropped
Yeah.
everything. So
We're obviously not going to talk about all 42 of these games. I do want to mention, though, that a very large number of them were indie games.
yes,
Which they really pushed that a lot during this event, was this ID at Xbox.
Yep.
This concept that, you know, just really trying to push these indie games that are not from the big publishers, that have really unique, interesting gameplay mechanics, visual styles, and stuff like that. And honestly, those were the games that I was kind of the most excited about.
And a couple of these actually were both the Play Anywhere as well.
Yes. Yep. There were a few of those.
Some of them that are the indie, like there's that Thimbleweed Park, that's a Play Anywhere.
Yep.
There's even the remastered stuff that they've been doing.
Yeah.
Speaking of the remastered, their backwards compatibility, they decided they're going to do original Xbox games.
Yes.
They're going to go back later this year. They had announced that they're going to go all the way back to those, which is, I mean, why not? That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
a lot of people say that's a niche, but I'm like, that's a pretty big niche. There's people that'd be like, I want to play that.
I know people that still have original Xboxes because they liked those games.
Yeah.
And they want to play them. So, yeah.
I mean, the only thing that PlayStation has a hold on me is Final Fantasy VII. I love that game. And yeah, they're coming out with that remaster, and I'm kind of like, please come out on Steam. Just come out on Steam. I don't want to spend a lot of money to play that.
I think that's likely. I
know.
Will.
That's kind of why I'm like, oh, wait. It's not anything against PlayStation. It's just that's their rights and they're holding.
Who wants to buy 2 consoles?
That's the thing. But that's the thing. If I want to play Final Fantasy VII and it's $60, I have to pay $560 to play that game. So that's why I say that.
Well, okay, $400.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The PS4 Pro is only $400.
I'm sorry.
So but anyway, still a lot of money.
But
it is a lot of money. Yes.
But let's go back to where we were talking about that you can play all your games on the Xbox Scorpio, which is really awesome. You can play any games, but there are a lot of games that they are saying is the Xbox Scorpio, if you want to do the 4K, they are getting a lot of games that will support the 4K. They're going to come out with patches to do that, to increase it so you have that. But if you aren't going to jump on the bandwagon of 4K and still have 1080p, you will still get a premium experience in just 1080p for your games.
It's like we've talked about before. When they first released the specs for Scorpio, they talked about it a little bit. And it's, you're going to get a better picture out of the X than you will out of the other Xbox Ones. Because it just has more power, it can do better stuff as far as like voxel shading and that kind of thing.
It reminds me of like when 1080p TVs were starting to come in. There wasn't a ton of content for it, but it still made the previous content look better.
Yes. 720p video looks better on a 1080p TV than it does on a 720p
As
TV.
does 1080p content looks better on a 4K TV.
Exactly.
It's the same technology, and it'll just benefit everyone either way.
And it might not be the kind of thing where you're all like, whoa, this is like an immersive experience, where before it was like looking at a picture book or something. It might not be that dramatic or anything like that, but it's the kind of thing where you're going to see just improvements in like the shaders and improvements in the performance as far as frame rate is concerned and that kind of thing. You'll be able to see those little minor improvements, and that'll be, it'll be noticeable. Might not be an enormous deal, but it's going to be noticeable.
I think you'll definitely enjoy it. I mean, slower load times. Obviously, if you're on 1080p,
yes, that too.
Slower load times. You're going to have that. It's just going to be great. I mean,
yeah. I did want to mention one game in particular because they kind of did this to, I think, show off a little bit of the awesome 4K-ness, but also to show off the fact that Microsoft has really deep pockets. Forza 7, so they announced that by doing the worldwide unveiling of the Porsche 911 GT2 RS sports car. I'm calling it a sports car. They called it a supercar. I'm calling it a sports car because it's a 911. And even the best 911s just don't quite feel like supercars to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But anyways, the 911 GT2 RS, they unveiled that on stage at E3.
Yep.
And I kind of think that was a little bit of Microsoft just all like, beat that, Sony. Like, you're not going to be debuting a car. Like,
that's funny.
What is it? Gran Turismo? Is that their racing series? Gran Turismo's not going to be debuting a car on stage worldwide. Like, these things only happen at major international auto shows.
Yes.
So the fact that happened at E3, I definitely I thought that was really funny.
Well,
and
Xbox
cool.
is profitable, so
yes.
I mean.
Yep.
And that is awesome. Yeah, it looked great. I mean, granted, I streamed it, but I guess I could kind of tell it looked very nice.
Yes.
And I mean, there is like, if you're expecting the Xbox Scorpio to be like this next generation, to where it's like the difference between like the original Xbox to Xbox 360, like, oh my gosh, this one's HD. Like, it's not as big of a, like, you're going to see so much more difference or anything. The stuff that you're going to really see is just better gaming. A lot of people are pushing these open worlds. And it's just going to make these open world games more vast. Load times are going to be less. I mean, that's what they're pushing for. Is just to keep you in these worlds as good and without any hiccups as possible. And that's what they're pushing for.
Yep, I think it will be a really big difference. It's a premium price for a console, $500 is, it's the most expensive console on the market right now by $100. The next being the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And, you get what you pay for. I feel like this is definitely, it's much better hardware. You're going to be getting a really nice gaming experience.
Yes.
If you've got a 4K TV in your living room and you game on it regularly, then I think this is probably worth your money.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Like you were saying, I mean, $500 compared to the PC you went to build.
Yeah,
was $700,
exactly. Exactly.
And
Yep.
And
the PC obviously has a few more advantages as far as like also being a productivity machine and that kind of thing. But if you do a lot of gaming and you've got a 4K TV, I think that the One X is definitely going to be worth your money. If you've got a 1080p or even like me 720 TV,
it's going to run really well.
Then maybe you don't necessarily want the One X, but that 1S is now cheaper, or you can go get the original. That was kind of the whole thing that I got out of this, was that, yes, we have this amazing console, but we're not abandoning the previous iterations.
Right.
Like, they're still there. We're still releasing all of these great games for them. It's going to be awesome. And I think that's really cool, and they actually managed to get me to, like, do a double take and think to myself, oh, I might buy an Xbox, which has never happened before. So, that's kind of like, from my perspective, that's a big deal.
Well, and it is. And that's something that's really interesting. There's actually a lot of people that have said that. They're like, I never was into the Xbox. Not saying like because it was Microsoft. It was just I have a PC or I don't game as much or anything.
Right,
but
yeah.
that really
Yep.
it speaks to a lot of people.
And I mean, it's from my perspective, the fact that I can get an original Xbox that will play all of their games that are going to be coming out, like, since the original Xbox came out, through the next couple of years at least.
Yes.
And I'm like, I can play all of those games, and I can get this console for less than $200. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this is perfect. Like, that's a great way to get people into the Xbox ecosystem.
Yes.
So kudos to Microsoft for doing that. And I'm gonna foot down, like, because we're running out of time. And,
Okay, we gotta.
we spend a lot of time on Microsoft. I mean, to be fair, Microsoft is one of the three big things that comes out of E3. The other two being Sony and Nintendo, neither of which have happened yet. Yep. So actually, Sony is happening right now. So we're missing that.
We'll be talking about that probably next week.
Yes, we will be catching up on Sony and Nintendo next week, because Sony's today, Nintendo's tomorrow. There were some other things that came out of E3 that were noteworthy. Most of them games.
Yes.
I wanted to mention Epic Games Fortnite, because they introduced that at WWDC in 2015 as the demo of the first version of Metal that was going to be in Mac OS. They did that, and nothing has happened since. It's been sitting there. I mean, obviously they've been doing development work on the game, but really no public any kind of updates at all.
So I gotta hold on a sec before we get too far from this. I did want to say this.
Oh.
Microsoft has done the Ultimate though through Mojang. It's all cross-platform,
Yes,
or will be.
That's true.
You can.
I
play
thought you were
on
going to
your-
say the 4K version of Minecraft, and I was all like, but it's still giant
I know
blocks.
it's just side giant blocks. No.
Yes, it is all across platform. So mobile devices, the
PC,
consoles,
everything. Anyone can play with
all there.
anyone.
Yep.
And that's pretty huge. And
That
that's
is cool.
what's really funny is that's going to be the first game that you can play. Now, I don't know if Sony, I'll have to double check, but if Sony's Minecraft can play with Xbox's Minecraft, I don't know about that.
Is there a PlayStation version of Minecraft?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have to take your word for it. I'm just
I don't.
realizing
Well, see, I don't
actually
know.
don't know.
That's the thing. I was thinking about that because they said just consoles, and I'm assuming they were meaning there are three,
right.
and then
Yeah.
PC, and then obviously it makes sense that you could do it with your Apple or your iPhone.
Right.
It's like,
yeah,
okay,
your
that
mobile
makes,
devices,
because
Android,
it links because that
Android
links
TV,
to your achievements,
Apple TV, stuff like that. Yeah.
and that's already linked. So, but I don't know about Sony's, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
No, that's true.
But
That's
I
true.
thought that was
Good old
actually pretty noteworthy there. That's
Yep.
the first step. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so anyways, Fortnite, they've announced that they're going to be doing a paid early access release that's scheduled for July 25th of this year. So that will actually be happening. So that's kind of cool. And eventually they're going to be doing an open beta period with the thing and so on and so forth. So it was just cool that we actually got some news on what the heck was happening with Fortnite. The other game that I wanted to mention that was just kind of a press release, that didn't really come up in any of the conferences or anything, but Kingdom Hearts 3. That's a thing. It's now confirmed. Kingdom Hearts 3 is happening, and all of us that have been waiting the entire time on Half-Life 3 and, stuff like that, Portal 3, Left 4 Dead 3, like, freak. Half-Life 2 Episode 3, like, just please, Valve, anything with a 3. Kingdom Hearts fans got it before we did, and I'm a little bummed, but Kingdom Hearts 3, it's happening. So, there you go.
I'm looking right now on PlayStation's website. There's Minecraft for the PS4, PS3, and PS Vita.
Okay. Yep. So they sure did say all platforms, so...
That would be all platforms.
I mean, if it includes those, then Minecraft is now the official game of calling all platforms, because it works on all the platforms, and they can all play with each other. And I'm totally going to buy Minecraft. So, there you go.
I think cool, I know how they can do it. I don't think... Okay, I think I know how they do it. So they released Realms, Minecraft Realms, and that is a paid, like, server. So it's like I have a server. So I wonder if that's how they can do it to where you can invite or say that this email or this person from this can come into, and I wonder if that's how you do it.
So it's just servers, like as far as the PlayStation is concerned, it's all like, this is just a server. And it just so happens that it also has mobile phone players on it. And
I wonder if that's how
Xbox
they'll do it
players.
instead of...
Yeah. Well, that's pretty similar to what they did with Rocket League. Like Rocket League, you can play PlayStation 4 with Xbox. It's just there's no matchmaking system between the two of them in order to get it set up that way.
I wonder if that's
what
it is.
Since Minecraft doesn't really have matchmaking the same way that a lot of games do, but it has these servers, that might actually... Yeah, that would make sense.
Sorry, totally.
Okay. No, there we go. Minecraft was important. EA. I want to talk about EA a little bit.
Let's do that.
There were 3 games I wanted to mention from them.
It wasn't anything with starships, was it?
No, actually, that would blow 2 of my games out. So let's talk about the co-op Prison Break game.
Yes.
So this was actually from the makers of Brothers, which is an indie game that came out a couple of years ago on Xbox. And it was actually really cool. It was a co-op, like couch co-op experience where each of you were controlling a different character on screen. It was pretty neat. So this new game is A Way Out, is what it's called. And it is a Prison Break game that is co-op. And it is only co-op. And it is only couch co-op. So, like, literally, to play this game, you have to have somebody else sitting next to you in the room. And that's the only way to play. And I'm really interested by that concept. Just, like, the game looks like it's really fun. They've done a lot of work to make it feel like a cinematic experience and that kind of thing. And it looks pretty cool. And supposedly it's supposed to be pretty short as well, which would make sense if it's restricted to couch co-op.
Seems like it's just a concept game.
Right, they're kind of messing around with this idea, but I'm just really interested in, this. I'm interested to see, once it's released, what it's actually like. A game that is dedicated couch co-op. Like, can this be the best couch co-op game ever made? Because the entire game was designed with that in mind? It's possible, actually. As far as a story-based couch co-op game is concerned, mostly that co-op element feels like it's been tacked on. Like it was an afterthought. So this is the primary focus of this game. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how it turns out.
Yep.
The other 2 games do feature starships. So BioWare, after kind of farting all over the ball with Mass Effect Andromeda, I feel bad.
Farting all over the ball.
They had a rough time with Mass Effect Andromeda, and we all feel very sorry for BioWare. Maybe you should do Knights of the Old Republic 3. Hey, look, another 3. Anyways, they are starting an entirely new series with a game called Anthem, which feels like, I don't know, I watched some gameplay of it. It looks a little bit like Destiny, except with a BioWare twist on things.
Yeah,
which
that's how I felt.
Meaning it's an RPG, not that you can romance everything. That's what I meant when I said a BioWare twist.
That you
Just
can romance
to
everything.
Be clear, it's entirely possible that you can romance everything. I don't know. They didn't really show that.
You see that animal? I'm going to go romance it. See what happens.
Because, it's Destiny. It's like a big old open world RPG type thing, and there's just stuff like that all over the place.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
Anyways. But yeah, it looks like it's pretty cool. It looks like it's more heavily story focused.
Yeah.
than something like Destiny. At least Destiny 1. Destiny 2 claims to be more story-focused as well. So it'll be interesting to see how those two compare once time get on. It's entirely possible they're completely different from each other as well. Kind of too early to say. Both games just barely announced. But
yeah,
I was interested.
It seems pretty cool. This is just to verify, this is the one where you see the guy actually getting in the suit, like the armor. That's the game.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was all they really showed at EA's conference, was just that kind of like little cinematic trailer. I want to say it was actually, oh gosh, I don't know where I saw it. It was later. I saw a gameplay trailer that was released as a different part of EA.
Yeah.
It wasn't in EA's
I think it
conference.
was at Xbox. I think it was in that.
Was it at Xbox? It might have been at Xbox, yeah. Where they showed him flying around in the exosuits.
Yeah, and I thought it was pretty cool because I think they said, oh, look, 2 people joined. And I like it was just instant join.
Yep. They just dropped in and they were there, like right where you were in the quest. Is all like, oh, it's new people.
That I thought was pretty cool because I mean, sometimes you just, hey, come join. And you didn't have to stop the game to invite somebody to matchmake to create the world.
Yes,
you're just like, oh, here I am.
Yep, there it is. This is nice.
So,
yeah, that looked like it was interesting. Obviously, the big thing at EA's
elephant in the room
was Battlefront 2, which is not to be confused with the excellent game that was similarly named Battlefront 2 from back in like 2005 or whenever that came out, which I totally still have and still play maybe once or twice a year on my PlayStation 2.
It's a good game.
Super, super good game.
It is a good game.
And finally, it looks like the EA DICE version is going to live up to its origins, because this Battlefront 2 looks pretty awesome.
Yes, it does. It looks, if you guys want to see it, it speaks for itself.
It does.
Go take a look at some videos, some gameplays on YouTube or anything. It's pretty cool.
It's a follow-up to the original Battlefront, so it means it's in the Frostbite engine like the Battlefield series. Looks really pretty. Has a lot of the same stuff that people were complaining like was not in the 2015 Battlefront. It's now in Battlefront 2. So, yeah, it looks really good. Should be cool. Check out some gameplay on YouTube, because there's actually quite a lot. This is one of the games that's getting the most press, I think, out of the entire event thus far.
Yep.
I saw a video. It was like 15 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
it was. They actually had people playing it.
I watched 2 of those just this morning.
It looks pretty cool.
Yep.
It does.
Looks really good. Was there anything else you wanted to say about EA and their conference? Because I
think that was the biggest one.
Yeah, I was kind of bored with EA's conference.
Yeah.
They weren't nearly as bad as these next folks, though. Bethesda.
Yeah.
Yay. Bethesda had a really big conference last year, because last year they were talking about Dishonored 2, they were talking about Fallout 4, they were talking about another game that I can't remember that came out this past year from Bethesda that was really big.
Doom. Just kidding.
No. Somebody tell me.
Some Fallout or something.
Something. Anyways, Bethesda had a really big year last year. They didn't have nearly as big a year this year. They only really talked about like 5 games. The only one that actually interested me in any way was Wolfenstein 2. So I've decided that this year is the year of numbered sequels to reboots of game franchises that already had numbered sequels in them.
Yes.
So what's happening is the gaming industry is copying Hollywood.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's going to happen for the next 5 years.
It's making money, so that's what they want.
Yeah,
This
unfortunately.
is unfortunate.
Unless they're good games, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not, again, Hollywood
Yeah.
movies they're
Yeah.
good movies. It's just
some of them,
nothing
some of them
original.
not, but some of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wolfenstein 2 is the sequel to the 2013 Wolfenstein The New Order, which was kind of a soft reboot of just an alternate timeline of the Wolfenstein franchise. That, like, interestingly, and I did not know this, so there was the first one, The New Blood, or The New Order, and then the second one was The New Blood, and
Which was a prequel.
Right, which was a prequel to The New Order and is basically Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which is the second numbered entry in the original Wolfenstein series. It's that over again. So now Wolfenstein 2 is called The New Colossus and takes place after that. The nice thing about Wolfenstein is that they all technically have different names. There's Castle Wolfenstein and Wolfenstein 3D and Return to Castle Wolfenstein and then Wolfenstein The New Order and Wolfenstein The New Colossus. Like, they all have different names and taglines and stuff. And Battlefront, you really could have learned a lesson there. But it looked really good. Like,
It did.
I have not played the rebooted Wolfenstein, and this trailer was all like, I should get that, like the original, and play it so that I can play this one when it comes out.
I've gotten, like I said, we're previous before we started recording. I've got through 50% of it, and it's pretty fun. It's got an interesting take on the shooter. Obviously, it's not meant for multiplayer. I don't think there is multiplayer in it.
Right.
But it was meant to do different things, like dual wielding is huge on anything dual wielding, and then also different ways of maneuvering.
Yeah.
So, like, you can just take off a run and then hit a button to where you'll slide and you can start shooting people.
Right.
It doesn't slow down, so you got to have good aim with it. But you can, but you can do it both with dual wielding, whatever, your machine guns, your pistols, and all sorts of different things. So it's an interesting take on the shooter, but it also has the type of cover system to where it's first person, but you can either say, okay, I want to crouch and then poke out, but you can crouch, poke out, throw a knife, kill somebody, run, jump, kill, and I'll try and do these. You can either be silent stealth kills, or you can do just
run and gun.
You can do, there's all sorts of ways to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. It's entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah. For anyone who's not aware, these Wolfenstein rebooted games are very much along the same lines as the rebooted Doom. They're incredibly gory, very graphic.
Yeah.
So definitely don't, if you're not into that kind of thing, don't get these. Just
they're-
on our recommendation,
There
don't
is-
do that.
It is mature. I will
Yes,
say that. It
definitely.
is mature.
But looks like it's a really good return back to the roots of what made shooters really great back in the early 90s, was just that it was about the shooting. Like,
Yes.
it wasn't, we weren't getting distracted by all of the military Call of Duty and Battlefield stuff that
Yeah.
has happened since then. It was about the shooting.
Yep.
And that was it. And so that's what the Wolfenstein games do. That's what Doom did really well.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see what this Wolfenstein 2 is. Wolfenstein, to me, actually has more appeal than Doom does because it's more story focused.
Yeah,
And
there's
that's
not
what I prefer.
much of a story in Doom. Like, it was, like, I remember this newest Doom. Like, it was an interesting story. Like, because before, in the original, it was just, hey, you're a space marine on Mars and that crap is happening. Enjoy.
Hell, demons.
Yeah, enjoy.
Kill them all.
But in this new one, they tried to piece together, like, this. It was an interesting thing that how they tried to piece it together with this new Doom. Like, you're this ancient race that they found. You're like the last of it, but you were the one that can pretty much hold hell back.
Yep.
And so, but it was interesting, but really, I didn't care as much than to just do all these cool little things you could do by ripping arms off of demons.
It was very similar to the original Doom in that the entire storyline can be summed up with a single page blurb right at the beginning, and
Yes,
then the
it
rest of the
can.
game is, look, hell, and kill it all.
Enjoy.
There you go.
And another demon comes out.
Yep. So,
Fight.
that was the only thing. Yeah. That was the only thing from Bethesda that I was really interested about. They also announced like kind of a standalone expansion thing to Dishonored 2 and some VR stuff with Doom and the Fallout 4 and some other stuff. I didn't really care about any of that stuff. I feel like most of that was already announced as well. It was all like, here's a trailer for a thing that we told you about last year, and I'm all like, okay, thanks.
I'm being really weird, but Skyrim was Bethesda, right? No.
Yes. No, wait.
Who did Skyrim?
Elder Scrolls. So Bethesda.
I think it is Bethesda.
Yes,
Okay.
because BioWare has the Dragon Age franchise, right?
Yeah.
So Elder Scrolls is Bethesda. Yes.
Okay, for some reason anyway, just so you Switch players know that Skyrim is on the Switch,
that's
but
right.
you can also now, if you have the amiibo to your Link, your new Zelda game Link, you put the amiibo on your Switch in Skyrim to read your amiibo, a chest will appear, and you can now dress as Link in Skyrim and have the Master Sword and the Hyrule Shield and his tunic in Skyrim. I did want to mention that. So.
Yes, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I always get Bethesda and BioWare confused because they both start with B. They both focus a lot on like big RPGs.
Yeah.
And they both have both a futuristic RPG and a fantasy RPG series.
Yes, they do.
So it's Dragon Age and Mass Effect
for
BioWare, and Bethesda, it's the Elder Scrolls and Fallout.
So
I
that was one
always have a hard
mention
time
I
keeping that
figured
straight.
I'd let people know that have a Nintendo Switch that they can do that. Now that's only the Switch, and that's how Nintendo is because it's like. Actually, now that I think of that, I want to go back to this Minecraft thing. If somebody has Minecraft and does the Nintendo thing, can other people go see it?
Go see the
The
Mario
Nintendo
World
World?
stuff. Oh,
Mind blown.
I have questions.
Science.
They didn't answer that. I don't know.
Sorry, I just keep thinking of this Minecraft thing.
Minecraft, it just keeps coming up.
Anyway, go ahead.
So that's it for Bethesda. Ubisoft, their event was earlier today, and they talked about some stuff, and I didn't like most of it. It's another chapter in the ongoing saga of Caleb is learning to hate Ubisoft as much as most people hate Ubisoft. So let's start with Assassin's Creed.
Oh boy.
So Assassin's Creed Origins is the next iteration in the main Assassin's Creed series, and it's going to jump all the way back to ancient Egypt, like the height of the Egyptian Empire. The Great Pyramid has just been finished. Type. This is High Egypt, and they're saying that is the birth of the Assassin's Creed. The Brotherhood of Assassins,
Gotcha.
whatever they call that in game. So that's interesting. I like that they're going for like this is a setting that is definitely way out of the way of anything that we've done before. Cool. I appreciate that. I didn't appreciate the fact that the dude presenting the thing said that ancient Egypt is the birthplace of modern civilization. Other people who didn't appreciate that, the Sumerians, the Chinese, the Koreans, loads of people further south in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. Anyways, if I don't even know where he gets that from, because you can't even say it's the birthplace of modern Western civilization, because that was the Fertile Crescent. Like, Egypt was the birthplace of modern Egyptian civilization and a lot of the other civilizations kind of around that area, and it definitely influenced Western civilization and was a majorly important player in the early days of civilization. Anyways, just
Yeah.
I had a problem with that statement, and it kind of colored the rest of the entire presentation of Assassin's Creed for me, because I was just like, this is not the birthplace of modern civilization. Anyways,
Wow.
so Egypt,
On that
ancient
note.
Egypt is interesting. I am interested in that. Along with Assassin's Creed news, though, and I have not played Assassin's Creed Black Flag, so everyone take this with a grain of salt, but I have heard from loads of people that played Assassin's Creed Black Flag that is the best part of that game, and one of the things that made it one of the best Assassin's Creed games in the entire franchise is the ability to sail around and do pirate stuff, and that the sailing mechanics were really good, and that was awesome. So, cool. Ubisoft was paying attention. They're releasing a whole game that is basically just the sailing bits from Black Flag. It's called Skull and Bones, and it's an online pirate world that's kind of like Sea of Thieves, if we're honest.
Let's be
where you
honest.
can get on ships and play with your friends and that kind of thing. But it's more sim-like, more realistic than Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is very cartoony. It's funny, whatever.
You can shoot yourself out of a cannon.
Exactly.
And that's all I need.
You can play the hurdy-gurdy
and the hurdy-gurdy.
and drink rum and grog and whatever. So Skull and Bones is much more sim-focused, much more realistic combat and sailing and stuff.
Can I play as Captain Morgan?
You can probably name yourself Morgan and then be the captain of a ship. So I'm going to
That's not
say
as fun.
yes.
That's not as fun.
I want there to be a character based off Captain Morgan.
You know, this is rare. I bet there's going to be all sorts of references when this
I'm
game
sure
comes
there
out.
will
There's
be.
going to be all sorts of stuff that there will be. I bet, honestly, it probably won't say Captain Morgan. It'll probably be like Captain Lorgan or something just to make fun of it.
Yeah.
Like
probably
Lario and Moiji or something. Like, sorry.
So
Go ahead.
anyways,
Captain Mario.
so Skull and Bones, actually, that was another thing that got announced at Ubisoft's event was Rabbids. The Rabbids franchise now is going to feature Mario. Or rather, Mario is now going to feature the Rabbids franchise.
Let's be honest.
On the Switch. So Ubisoft is doing that as well. But yeah, Skull and Bones, basically just Black Flag, except it's the entire game is just the sailing. So if you're into that, cool.
I'm now just constantly thinking about how much I want a Mario pirate game.
Speaking of cartoony,
That would be amazing.
Bowser and his fleet.
Yeah. You know, there's already airships in the main Mario games. Why not have pirate
Yeah, why not
airships?
have-
And why isn't
I just
Mario
want
hijacking an airship?
I just want an entire Mario game that's pirate based.
That would be cool.
That would be amazing.
Also, would be totally fine as far as like Mario's continuity is concerned, because there isn't one.
There is.
The fact that the Mario on the Wii U was in space,
I have a question.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good game.
which was an awesome game.
If they remade Super Mario 3 in these like actual graphics of the Mario now, would you guys actually buy that and replay it?
Duh. If they made
that
original
be
Mario
awesome?
Brothers, I would buy
If they
it.
just remade them in the newer engines, like take Super Mario Maker, how you can do all the different, Mario
Well,
versions.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that basically what Super Mario Wii was? I mean, obviously it wasn't a direct recreation, but it was the same basic gameplay. Just, look, it's pretty now.
And you can have 4 people that really annoy the crap out of you.
Yep. That's an option.
That's an option. I heard that was horrible. They're like, 2 people? All right. 3 people? A little rough. 4? Nope. Not happening.
Hey, if all you're trying to do is have fun at a party, it's a blast. If you're trying to actually accomplish something, holy crap.
You know what? No. If you're trying to have fun at a party, you play Mario Party.
No. No. If you want to have real fun at a party, you're playing Smash Brothers.
If you want to fight people at the party,
If you want to, you know what's really fun?
then you play Mario Kart.
is the Jackbox Party Pack. Have you seen that?
I've heard of it.
So-
I'm not really.
So what they
familiar
did,
with
they
what's
just
in it.
did a bunch of games. It's really awesome. I guess I'll go ahead and say that. So on Xbox, I don't know if it's on PlayStation or anywhere else. They got a bunch of games. They put it together. For example, like one is a Pictionary game. They call it Drawful. But the way you connect is with either your mobile phones or tablets. You don't connect with the controller. And you can have up to 8, 12 players in all this. So it's kind of like a Pictionary game. So it tells each person, it'll send you, like, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead and draw something, and then it sends it to the screen. It's like, okay, guess what this is? Who draw it? And that's one of the games, but there's a lot of them. And
You know what? I think I know where I heard that, and I think it was actually on the Apple TV App Store. So it's at least there as
Is it?
well, I think.
Yeah, it would be perfect for
Yeah.
that because you just connect with your phone.
Right,
I would
Exactly,
imagine
exactly.
there's probably a Chromecast version also.
Yeah, there might be.
Because there's
Be-
games like that on Chromecast that are
And they are
Awesome.
stupid fun.
Yep. Yes, for a party.
Yes.
If you're in a party.
not as much fun by yourself.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
I have no friends.
Watch this. Gonna bring it back around.
Let's do this.
Far Cry 5. Speaking of parties, Far Cry 5, they talked about it at the Ubisoft event, is taking obvious cues from Ghost Recon Wildlands for many of its mechanics,
Oh,
which involves parties. You can get together with parties of friends and stuff like that. And
that was
play
a
the
pretty
game.
good segue.
Sure, I'll
I
take
liked
it.
I liked it back. Parties.
So that basically just goes to show me. So between Far Cry 5, Skull and Bones, and Assassin's Creed Origins, can I just say all Ubisoft games are really starting to look the same. I can't tell the difference anymore.
I think there is. Don't they do that new South Park game?
Yes.
The fractured
Yes.
butt hole.
So there's that. That's different. And then they have stuff like Rayman and
Yeah, I know.
the
I was
Rabbids
just-
and stuff like that. So, but as far as like Ubisoft's like serious games are concerned, Assassin's Creed Origins is just Far Cry 4 in ancient Egypt. Far Cry 5 is I mean obviously just Far Cry 4 in Hope, Montana, but also happens to be Ghost Recon Wildlands in Hope, Montana. Ghost Recon Wildlands is exactly the same as The Crew, except it features you controlling a human instead of a car, and also happens to be in South America somewhere. Like they're basically the exact same
Yeah.
game in a different location, and that's gonna get old real fast. I'm hoping that is not the case for the last game they talked about, which was Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is a cult classic game from back in like 2002 or something like that, which I actually own and I've never played. And I've seen some gameplay of it, but I've never actually played it. Maybe I should. It's supposedly really, really good, really unique, a lot of unique game mechanics, a very unique setting and world. And I'm concerned because they showed this video that was pretty cool and made it look like the game was going to be very unique, like the original. But then they came out afterwards and were all like, this amazing open world. And I was all like, oh, Ubisoft open world.
Oh boy.
Please don't make this the same as the rest of your open world garbage, Ubisoft.
Well, I think what they got to do is they got to get all their open worldness out and just get it out in the wild before Red Dead comes out.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
The problem is there are a lot of like people that are making many open world games in a row, but they're different from each other. They're distinct for
True,
one reason or
true.
another. But Ubisofts are all starting to blend together. Like the controls and everything, it just all feels very familiar. Steep is basically Ghost Recon Wildlands, except the focus is on parachuting and skiing all the time instead of shooting people. but it feels exactly like it's the same engine, even if it's not the same engine. The Far Cry series is rendered in the Dunia engine, and I'm pretty sure that that Steep is an Unreal game. So like, I don't know what they're doing, but whatever it is they're doing, they're all starting to feel the same.
They're leading up to an Avengers-style video game.
Oh
It's all in the same universe, and you're going to be able to...
Far Cry and Ghost Recon and Steep and Assassin's Creed all combine into...
The non-gamers calling it. Yep. Landon called it.
Okay. I could live
There's
with
going
that.
to be a Ubisoft Avengers where you can play as any character and have up to 10 people playing at the same time and at different places. And
it will be an open world that features the settings from Far Cry and Ghost Recon and Steep and Assassin's Creed, and they'll just be all like maps next to each other.
And just because they'll throw in South Park and not always be Kenny.
Exactly. There you
just
go.
be Kenny.
why not?
Why not?
That actually, okay.
That would be amazing.
Legit,
actually.
if that's what they do, it will have all been worth it.
It would all
Just
been
all of
worth
it. Oh, man. So anyways, if you're a fan of the original Beyond Good and Evil, the sequel has been announced.
go.
It's coming out probably early next year or late next year. So yeah,
Cool.
there you go. That's all. That's the E3 news that I wanted to talk
And
about.
there's
Part
so
one.
much more.
Right.
There's so many more games, and this is very game focused. As we said, PlayStation. As we speak, as we're recording,
Yes,
they're doing their
they're
press conference
announcing
now.
stuff
Which,
right now, so we'll get caught up on that.
yeah, we'll get caught up there, and there's so much more. I think there's going to be more of everything, so we'll try and get as much as we can. But go, and I'm sure you've seen all the news and all the things. See videos, take a look at the games. Best thing if you're on a budget for these games, I mean, plan it out. So you'd be like, okay, what open world do I want? What? I mean, there's lots coming. I mean, Microsoft looked at 42 games.
Yes, holy crap.
I mean, that's just them alone.
Yep.
And then obviously you got EA, which is game publisher. You got Ubisoft. We got Bethesda that have all their games and all the add-ons. I mean, there's a lot.
Yep.
So,
And then all of the people that don't have enough money to have a giant conference in the middle of E3
Yeah.
that are also announcing and releasing games this week.
is
and
Nintendo?
stuff like that. Nintendo never actually attends E3. They do
Right,
their
but they
Nintendo
do their-
Treehouse thing. That is happening tomorrow, I believe, on Tuesday. So that's happening tomorrow. Sony is happening right now. We will catch you up with everything that is going on with them next week on the podcast.
E3
But-
Part 2.
Yes, E3 Part 2. So...
Everyone, I heard this. Everyone's saying that I can't ever say that Shigeru Miyamoto
Yes.
is going to be
Yes.
talking to Mario's hat the entire time.
Yes, because of Super Mario
Because of
Odyssey.
Mario, yep,
Yes.
that's what
Okay,
they were
fair enough.
saying.
We'll have to see.
So-
I'm kind of excited. But so we'll just catch you up on all that stuff next week, and unless anybody has anything else to add, Landon, anything last minute?
Nope.
Nope.
No? Okay.
I'm still
we're gonna
hoping
gonna
for my
slide out
Ubisoft
to-
Avengers game.
I'm hoping for that now as well.
I am as well.
That would be the best.
With Kenny as DLC, I would buy that
That would just be the best. Okay.
with a sign on him that says "Who killed Kenny?" So,
All right.
I'm going down this rabbit hole.
Yes, you are. And we're just going to zip it shut after you.
Okay.
Thanks for
Oh, yeah.
listening to E3 Part 1, everybody.
You did it. You did it.
Yep, I sure did.
Oh.
We will see you next week. This is us at Calling All Platforms, signing off.
See ya.
See ya.